Hey y'all, and welcome to Stivers Homestead. I'm Zach, and today we're getting to work because it looks like fall spring is on its way out and winter's coming back. So we're enjoying this last real nice day to get that compost we have and start top filling a lot of our beds here. But first, Rusty gotta go in the garage because he go crazy with the tractor. Rusty. Good boy. Had to think about it, huh? Okay, got Rusty in the garage, and I actually just thought about it. I need to show you what I'm standing on. Here's that compost I was talking about. So we're gonna whip out old Jolene, that's our tractor over there, and start getting that moved in here. But check this out. We've expanded our parking lot for the store. So if you see my truck down there, that's where the parking lot ended. So we added all of this, a better access to get in and out of our property. And then also, because we used to park our cars right here, we now have this back here to be able to park our vehicles. So we can be out of the way and customers can come and go freely and much more easy. And I'm very excited about it. It's very nice to have a little bit better of a parking lot going on here, and making it just more comfortable and easier for people to get in and out. Okay, I put 3 tractor loads in each single one of our beds. Got my garden helper here with me. I think I'm gonna have to add more to it, which thankfully we have plenty more left. But I'm gonna spread it and then see what we're looking at, see what needs it, and then we'll go from there. You ready to spread?
Yeah.
Let's do it. Benny, stay out of it. So, here's a little different with that show, but we're just pushing it across and everything.
I'm gonna go get my little shovel. This one's really
Okay, this sounds okay. All right, so unfortunately I need to go do several more loads on the tractor. That did not cover near as much as I thought it was going to, but that's all right. Good thing we had the tractor, good thing we have more dirt. Good morning. Battery died on me. And then Raylan and I, we just kept getting working done, and the beds are done. I'll show you all that here in just a second, and talk to you about that. But first, there was something, because I kind of confused folks, and honestly, it was my fault because I didn't know what Jen was making. So I want to talk to you about these tinctures real fast, and then we'll get to the beds. Okay, so in a previous video, I was talking about dandelion root and how fantastic it is for allergies. It is. So if you bought that, you still got the right thing. But in our store, there was one called Allergy, let me find it, Allergy and Sinus. And so this is one of those, I had also told you on that video that Jen was making concoctions. So it wasn't just one herb, it's a mixture of herbs, and they all had separate reasons. Well, she made an allergy and sinus one as well. So this one is got marshmallow and mullein mixed together, and apparently that's a great super tincture for allergy and sinus. So if you got the dandelion, you're fine. You can keep taking the dandelion. But if you also want another one that is specifically for allergy and sinus, there you go. The other 2 that she has that are comboed are Crud Be Gone. So this one is elderberry and echinacea. So that's going to be a ginormous immune supporter and helping rid colds and flus and stuff like that. And then the last one, I can't say it, but it's the last one. I think we already talked about that one because that was already made. It is called Chill Out. Chill Out is the common one for anxiety and just stressful situations. And the last one I wanted to highlight today, because it's fairly popular, because it's the time of season for this leaf to be talked about. Nettle leaf. So on ours, it just says nettle leaf, but it comes from purple dead nettle. It's purple dead nettle, and that's a plant that is coming out right now that is an edible plant. And it's usually your first piece that is coming back. Those and dandelions and stuff like that. So this one, we specifically made it for pain relief, eczema, arthritis, and anemia and stuff like that. But because it is purple dead nettle and it's coming from that plant, it's also going to have some properties that are going to help you with allergies as well. So just kind of keep that in mind if it is something that you're interested in, or if you're hearing about purple dead nettle, just know that our nettle leaf is a product from that. So want to make sure that everybody was aware of that, because it's another great one to have as well. Hopefully that cleared up some confusion. And also, just I will say, we're starting to slowly move away from Etsy. We'll get into more detail about that at another date once everything's finalized. So some of those products may not be on Etsy. They'll be on thestivershomestead.com. So you can actually purchase from our site now, which is really great. Getting away from having a third party, Etsy, and doing it all in the home. So if you're not seeing it on Etsy, hit the link below, thestivershomestead.com. That's where you'll find all the new products. All right, so I basically ended up using all 20 yards of the compost that we had to fill up all these beds, top off the herb beds, and then down here to cover up Raylan and Wyatt's garden bed that they have. But there's just something that is just so beautiful with a freshly topped garden bed and that dark magic sitting on top, just waiting for all the beautiful plants to start growing. So you need to do this for two primary reasons. One, if you had some newer beds, or if it was like second year beds, you're gonna have a lot of settlement from the previous soil that you put in. The soil is real fluffy and light, right? Which is what we want it to be, so that way the roots and everything has plenty of places to move around. But you're gonna see throughout the summer and then throughout the winter, when it comes to next spring, your soil level is gonna drop a lot. And remember, most everything needs at least 10 inches of soil to be able to grow its biggest and best it can. 12 inches are ideal. Anything else is always better, but at least 10 inches to grow. We have 12-inch beds, so we basically want to go all the way to the top. And where the bottom ground is so fresh, it's still hard. The roots are just going around in these beds. So you want to top it off, make sure you have plenty in there so your plants can thrive in the summer. So say you have more established beds and you don't have that much settlement and you're still looking pretty good, like you didn't drop much. The other reason that you want to continuously add compost to your soil is because the plants that you're planting is taking the nutrients from your dirt. That's what makes it grow. So every year that you garden, your soil needs to be replenished with its nutrients, so then your plants can have them too. So adding some nice, good, nutrient-rich compost on top is just enhancing your soil back to where it needs to be. So thankfully, if you didn't settle much, you don't need as much compost. You just need to put a thin layer on top, and then, like I said, let those worms just pull that down in there, and that's gonna help you thrive again for the summer. So that's your two primary reasons that you want to at least top some form of compost on your beds every single year if you can. And now we're into big time planning on how we want to do this. We know for our tomatoes specifically, we don't want to do what we did last year. Last year we used sticks and we tied them up and we pruned them, and it was a great year. But this year we're going less pruning and more just let them grow, because we do have several determinate tomatoes, which we've talked about before. Reminder, determinate, there is a determined amount of tomatoes, fruit, that is going to come on that plant. So every time you prune, you're removing yourself from tomatoes. Indeterminate means you can keep pruning, it's going to keep growing, it's going to keep flowering, you're going to get an unlimited amount of tomatoes. You can have your choice on which one you prefer, but because we have so many determinates, and I already know that I'm going to get confused on which are which when it comes about June, we're just going to go the no pruning method. So that means we need to have better spacing. I need to have good cages that can hold and support these tomatoes on the plants, because they need something to support them. So I'm thinking of some homemade cages that I'm gonna do this year. But the question is, do we want them back in that bed? It's very good to rotate your crops and make sure that you're keeping the pests and bugs confused, because tomato hornworms specifically, they will bury themselves in the bed that the tomatoes were planted. And so they're probably sitting there waiting right now for tomatoes to pop back up and go to town on them, because we all know how much we love tomato hornworms. But if we move those tomatoes, it's going to take them a little bit longer to find them, and we may be able to find them before they find our tomato plants. So now we're just kind of planning that out, figuring out where everything's going to go. A lot of it will probably be the same, but I know the peas down here did not do well on our pea arch that we had. So this may actually be a good alternative for the tomatoes, and just be able to tie them to that pea trellis that we have. So many decisions to make to try to set yourself up for a great success. But I will say, when it ultimately comes down to it, don't let that part overwhelm you too much. Just get a seed in the ground and start planting something, and then adjust from there. Take a little peek into the greenhouse here. Got a lot of tomatoes popping up. They're looking really good. We had this tray specifically. No, sorry, this one was taking forever to pop up and it was off the heat mat. So I did a little adjustment, put it on the heat mat, and we basically got 100% germination rate, which makes me happy. But it looks like I didn't do a little watering out here. The comfrey's starting to look really good. We got a few that are really hitting their true leaves out here, and I'm really excited. There's only about 3 or 4 that didn't germinate, and that's pretty fantastic. Down here, the little lettuce is growing great in our trash tub. I'm just, come on, baby, keep going. I'm ready to get some fresh salad up in this vase. So, all right, y'all, I hope you learned a little bit, especially about topping off your garden beds. Our morning started a little rough this morning, not rough. We had put the babies in the pen last night, the goat babies, in the stall because we was gonna milk Ethel at least this morning. Well, we walk up and every baby's out. I don't know how these little creative little sons of guns got out of my gate because it's hardware cloth and everything, but they found a way to get to that milk. So we didn't get any this morning, which was unfortunate, but that's all right. I remember what we did last year, Jen and I was talking about it. Instead of putting the babies up, we put the mamas up because the mamas can't get out as easy, and the babies can't really get in easy either. So I think tonight we're gonna do that, switch it up, put Ethel up, and that way we can have her milk in the morning. So stay tuned for that. It's a busy, busy time of year, and there is always moving parts that are happening. So hold on, grab the saddle, and let's roll with this thing, y'all. If you're new around here, hit that subscribe button. We love y'all. Till the next one.